This episode is brought to you by Michelob Ultra. Michelob Ultra is perfect for more than just the summer heat this year, because not only is it refreshing and crisp with only 95 calories, but Ultra is also the official beer sponsor of Team USA at the Olympic Games Paris 2024. Celebrate every point, race, and moment with Team USA and Michelob Ultra for the Olympic Games Paris 2024. Stock up on Michelob Ultra and cheer on Team USA. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2024 Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
This episode is brought to you by Snapple. Want to know another Snapple fact? The first hot air balloon passengers were a sheep, a duck, and a rooster. Ridiculous. Check out Snapple.com to find ridiculously flavored Snapple near you.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up during inflation, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, bit to get 30, bit to get 20, 20, 20, bit to get 20, 20, bit to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold!
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 up front for 3 months plus taxes and fees. Promo rate for new customers for limited time. Unlimited more than 40 gigabytes per month. Slows full terms at mintmobile.com.
Fresh from our dip in the cleaner than the sin Hudson River, it's I'ma Let You Finish, show number 197 on the Pantheon Podcast, Music and Culture Network. How are you?
Sports, music, culture, yeah, right?
All the things.
I'm waiting for the cooking shows. That's what I need. God damn it. Hi. How are you?
Good.
The guy caught in the rain. Isn't there a song?
Is it raining? It's not raining here.
Oh, honey. Raining? Did I say raining? Monsooning. It'll come. It's coming.
The sun is out here.
Yeah, the sun is out here too, except that it wasn't. Monsooning.
Yeah. Oh, nothing up here. Not a
Millions
thing.
of black girls running under things to protect me, everybody.
When you said that you were wet, I thought it was from the humidity because it's really humid, but I didn't realize that it was raining.
Well, it's back to being humid from the worst summer ever. Well, you know who else is having a really bad summer? Old white men with more time on their hands than they know what to do with. Old white men with more time on their hands, but I mean.
Can you explain to me what?
No. Why do I have? Why
is the problem with white men and Taylor Swift? First of all,
no, a certain type of white man, an old white man. Old white man.
But they're not even really picking the time when she was active. She's relatively quiet by her standards.
Right.
She's been on this tour. We've not had to have the boyfriend parade tour like it was in the beginning.
Right.
There's not been a new single or video. She's just on the tour.
Well, we'll start it. First off, Ken Bruce, who is a very popular British radio DJ. I've never heard of them, which means nothing because I don't listen to British radio. Ken Bruce, who is 73 years old, and I'm only saying that because, and he said, admittedly, that his show focuses on an older demo and mainly plays music from the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Oh, I'm sorry, 60s, 70s. So he plays adult, it's fine. We all listen to that stuff. He has played Taylor in the past, but he has now issued a fatwa against Taylor Swift until such time that she stops writing about her boyfriends. He also said,
which is your big complaint about what she writes.
Well, it is. I mean, I'm not the only one, but
yeah.
I would like her to see her, but okay. He has also said, and I quote, "Great radio songs have 3 beats and then straight into the song, not these long intros like she does." So, thank you. Courtney said, yeah, okay.
Who cares?
So,
who cares about a long intro? Like, what's the problem?
Well, he's a radio DJ because, Taylor Swift, she's never played on the radio. She's some obscure underground. It just feels like no one's paying attention to me. I'm going to say something. And it's me. It's, again, I feel like if you don't want to play the woman, then don't play her. Why do you have to take out a press release?
And then there's always the radio edit. There's always a radio edit. So it cuts down that part that you're annoyed. First of all, it just feels like, so you woke up one morning and just chose violence for no reason. It's like, I just don't. I could see if it's like she dropped a new single, a new video. Here we go. She's in a. For her, I feel like she's gotten her, maybe listened to our show and we're like, can you just be quiet for a minute? Because I feel like she's just been doing shows. She's been actually really quiet. Like
she's basically in witness protection right now.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, thank God. Listen, we agree on the sort of like Taylor Swift take a nap, you enjoy the summer. We agree. Taylor Swift needs to take a cue from Dua Lipa, who knows how to relax and just take her time.
I mean, because you and I used to look up, I'd be like, she's on another vacation, and I'm not even mad at that. I'm
not at all.
Even mad
not at all. Not at all. So there's a lot going on there. Then there's America's poster child for incels, Bill Maher. I have a lot of people. I'm not the only one, but I used to like Bill Maher. I used
to love Bill Maher.
All right, love. We used to actually love him.
Politically Incorrect was my shit. Great. I loved him back then.
He was great. He has, like a lot of men, sorry, but gotten crankier and crankier as he's gotten older, that he's interviewing. He's got some podcast called Random Notes or Random Thoughts or Random. Random, just random. And he's interviewing the Huck Tour. I can't even, how is it pronounced? The Huck Tour?
First
yeah, all right. So right off the bat, you've gone from interviewing Barack Obama and Michael Moore and important political figures to a girl who's made a song or a podcast about giving a blowjob. But I digress. So he all of a sudden in the
and fun fact, you only get to be like literally. You get to be a white blonde girl and do that, and everybody celebrate you. You be all over Rolling Stone because if you're black or a woman of color, you're a whore. It's like, how dare you?
Really? So Bill Maher has, for reasons I don't know, slow news week. I guess nothing else is going on in the world. You know, what with the Olympics and 2 impending world wars and a presidential election and everything else. He's decided, known for his musical taste, she's tacky, Taylor Swift. Her boyfriend's going to dump her. She's too old to refer to her boyfriend. What is she supposed to call him? Until you marry the guy, he's your boyfriend, unless you're French, and then he's your lover. And he's going to dump her, and she's too old for this stuff. And I liked her better when she was country. First off, I can guarantee you he never listened to her when she was country.
At all.
At all.
At all. Lies.
No. He probably, when Kanye did that thing, he probably went, yeah, Kanye, fuck her up. Because, you know, he's horrible. Bill Maher is horrible. So as to your question, why is this going on? Men basically don't like women.
Well, I've been saying that forever. They don't.
They love us. They need us. They want us. If they want to reproduce, they definitely need us. If they want someone, but fundamentally, not all men, but fundamentally men have they don't really like women. And Bill Maher really doesn't. I don't know about Ken Bruce. I'm going to let Ken Bruce slide only because at least he's couching his stupidity in some musical. He's wrong, but I'll give him that. He didn't attack her personally, Ken Bruce. He attacked her as an artist. So I have to allow for that. Bill Maher just doesn't like women. And he doesn't like women. That's it.
This is all I'm going to say to people. Look up the history of who Bill Maher's girlfriends have been. I'm just going to leave it right there.
Just leave it right there.
Leave it right there.
Just leave it right there. Just leave it right there.
How fucking dare you?
No,
you're a trash bag. It's like you went from somebody who was really sort of like kind of a little bit counterculture and great, but you know those kind of people always that head just gets big, and then their voice, and they are just like, I'm celebrated, I'm smart, I just know what I'm saying, and it's like, listen, we all have opinions. We sit in front of a mic every week. We have opinions. We say what we want, but I feel like he's bye.
We all fell for it because we thought he dates black women and he smokes weed and he doesn't eat meat. We all fell for it. He's a neocon. He's awful and
the provocateur.
He's not even provocative. You know what I mean? When you're 70-something years old and you're sitting there, with the Hochtor, I don't even want to. Yeah, right. There's the conversation you want to have. You know what's tacky? Being a 70-something-year-old single man who's never had a significant relationship in his life with anyone, passing judgment on a perfectly happy, successful, by all account, nice person. That's what's tacky.
It's like, why do you give a fuck what she's doing?
Exactly.
And her man? Like, why do you care?
Put him in the. Can we put him back in the box of people we're never going to talk about?
We're going to put him in the box with Ye, because you guys notice we have not talked about Ye and any of his bullshit. So the box is him, Madonna sometimes, but she's my number one girl. So occasionally I pull her out the box.
You can get once a month on her. I'll give you. How's once a month?
Okay, go. Demi Lovato. Because we just can't with her. We can't. We put her in the box, though. We did, and
but she hasn't done anything to us really bother us with. All right, that's a good enough box. Let them fight amongst themselves. All right. Wow. Okay. Here's a really. Speaking of boxing, did you know that everyone on the internet is an expert in endocrinology? And
it's amazing.
Amazing, right?
So smart.
Beyond smart, like unbelievable level of knowledge of the ins and outs of molecular testing and DNA and genetic. Courtney, I feel stupid that I don't know anything, and that all you have to do is look at a picture of somebody and decide whether they're a man or a woman. And well, anyway, we're talking about the fighter. I hope I'm pronouncing her name correctly. Imani Khalif, who's an Algerian boxer, whose job it is. I want to tell you, Courtney, please. I hope I'm not upsetting you when I tell you this. Her job is to punch people in the face.
Kinda, sorta.
So she committed the cardinal sin of punching somebody in the face really good, like good punch. And nice Italian girl cried white lady tears. And
for the second Olympics in a row.
Right. White lady tears. And was instantly the only reason, of course, that she could have possibly had to quit the match, was because, this clearly can't be a woman, because an organization, you guys know all the information about it. I mean, this is a biological woman. This is not people like intersex. No, she's a girl who punches people in the face. And Michael Phelps is a man who has a freakishly weird wingspan. No one ever accused him of being a pterodactyl. He is.
It's so disappointing.
It's disturbing.
Because then you have the IBA, which is already banned. Let's talk about that. With a shady Russian who runs it, she was boxing under them for years. But then when Russians were getting banned and not being able to box under their flag, he let them. She beat a Russian. Then right before the final, some random test that they won't say what it was. Then they tried to call her gender into question. And then to throw that out there in the Olympics, when she competed in the last Olympics and she got beat, no one cared. She's been beaten by other women.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? But to do that, first of all, to watch everybody's transphobia and homophobia, Megyn Kelly, Donald Trump, all of these places.
J.K. Rowling again. Oh my God. J.K. Rowling, come on, rein it in.
No apologies. No apologies whatsoever. To drag this woman's reputation and name. She comes from a country where it is illegal to be gay, lesbian, bi, or trans. It is illegal. Algeria would never, ever.
No, I mean, it's ridiculous.
Put a trans person up to represent them. So to just bully her and to just really say the most horrendous thing, and then to watch everybody who just is so hateful jump right on it, right? They all jumped on it. And they're saying all of these things. And meanwhile, there is an actual convicted rapist who got on a plane, flew to the UK, to have sex with a 12-year-old Where is the outrage? You want to know why there's no outrage? Because you're all full of shit. You don't care really about real pedophilia. You don't. You don't care. You just are all right-wing, far-right,
Well, see, the
absolutely transphobic, homophobic, evil people. And then to watch all of the, let me just tell you something. You do not know the amount of TikToks I have seen and Instagram people of all of these influencers the next day apologizing, trying to be like, yeah, I too jumped on the trend. It's like, right, no one does any research. You hear something and everybody wants to rush to have an opinion and say something. It is so, you think about what people's dreams are, especially when you're an athlete. You want to go to the Olympics. You want to represent your country. And you get there and your whole time is being distorted by people misgendering you and then talking about you like you're not even a human being. And did you see how one of the countries put out a poster of her against their opponent? And it was like Beauty and the Beast. And one was like a feminine figure and one was the Beast. And it's just kind of like, this is really disgusting.
People on who follow us on social media were putting out pictures of Mike Tyson in a wig. Yeah, right. And it's also the same thing with these people. There's stupid memes about the marksman from Turkey, and they've concocted this entire backstory about him, which is not true. It's not true. The guy just happens to look like a hitman. It's actually hilarious that he just kind of walks up and shoots a gun. But he did not become a marksman because he hated his wife and he wanted to get away from her. And he just happens to be a 50-something-year-old guy who looks like he stepped out of like a James Bond, like he's a hired assassin, but it's social media and people put their stupid memes and you never have to apologize. And it's just like, it's very, very disturbing. But I believe that this woman is in line for a medal now, right? So she revenge. Is. Yeah, so good. Revenge. That's the best revenge. So the other things happening in the Olympics is the cutie pie French swimmer.
Oh, we really like him, and he's won four medals. You know, let me just tell you something.
What's his name? I'm totally blanking on it. Leon Marchand.
Mm-hmm.
He's adorable.
This has been the hot man Olympics. Let me just tell you something now.
Honey.
Leo, the German from Germany, the decathlete who is 6'7" and 240 pounds of hunky madness. I was like, what is going on?
Mondo, the pole vaulting guy, the Italian guy standing there. I don't know what sport he was with the cheekbones to die for.
The Brazilian surfer,
Pommel man. Pommel guy is adorable.
This has been hot man Olympics.
It's a brat. It's brat
Olympics. It's definitely brat. Definitely brat.
This Olympics is brat. Yeah, but we love the Leon. We they're all adorable and they're freakishly perfect bodies, and it's all terrifying. So that's been fun. The breakdancing I think starts Saturday.
Who's judging the breakdancing? What are the rules? What do you have? I need to know what are the rules. Do you have to hit certain things?
No, that's exactly, Courtney, it's going to be like, remember in the old days with compulsory figure skating where they had to do this? Dick Buttons, remember him?
Motherfucking Dick Buttons.
Dick Buttons. It'll probably be something like that where there'll probably be, this is my prediction, a compulsory where they have to do a head spin and they have to do a wheel, whatever the hell it's called, and then they get to freestyle and do whatever the hell they want to do.
Who's judging it? Who judges breakdancing for the Olympics?
I would like to think that they're bringing over Kid Capri and Frosty Freeze. Is he still alive? And the guy from Rocksteady Crew, the one who still dances. What's that guy's name? He's been around forever. The Puerto Rican kid who's been around forever. I'd like to think they're bringing out some retired breakdancers and flying them over from the Bronx and Japan. How much you want to bet a Japanese person wins this?
Listen, the people who I've seen competing so far all seem to be Asian. So let's see. I think even from the U.S. So let's see what it's going to be.
I think this whole idea that it's going to be some world. Oh my God! I can't believe I'm dropping a name of this kid he's He's not a kid. He was like the head of the Rocksteady crew. Anyway, I think it's going to be fun. And the music will be good.
I mean, what's that going to be? It's the
gonna
Olympics.
Be fun.
Right.
It's going to be fun.
I'm
it's
definitely...
fun.
Well, this morning, I wake up early like old people. And I've been watching sports that I didn't even know were Olympic sports. Did you know like climbing the wall is an Olympic sport? Wall climbing?
We climb the wall all the time.
Literally climbing the wall. And it's like, how fast can you get up the wall? And I'm watching people slip off the wall. I'm watching other people like get up the wall. Like those rock climbing walls that you can do?
Yeah.
That's an Olympic sport. Who knew?
Why not?
I did.
Knew? Okay, I was today-year-old when I found out that there was a mixed gender 440. I didn't know that the men's and the women's could run together.
Yes, that I've known because I've seen that before.
But that didn't happen before 4 years ago, did it?
Yeah, it did 4 years ago. It did.
Can I tell you something so funny though? Because I kind of turned into it and I saw
didn't know about the 3x3 basketball.
No, me neither.
I had no clue that was such a big thing.
3-on-3, me neither. But when I turned into the relay, the 4x400 with the mixed gender, part of me went, "Oh my God, the conservatives must be losing their mind. There are men running in this race."
I mean, all the things.
There's 4 men and they're saying they're women and I'm so confused. And I was like, no.
Can we talk about them trying to kill everybody with the Seine River though? It's like,
the Seine? Yeah.
Like,
well, I mean, who would have saw that coming?
Teams having to drop out because they got E. coli from swimming.
I mean, listen, they would have been safer in the East River. As our friend David Gonzalez said, they would have been safer in Orchard Beach.
Why didn't they have a backup plan?
Stupid.
It makes zero sense to me.
Stupid.
It makes zero sense. If you have to test the water every day, you're like, okay, you can get in today. But then today again, they couldn't have the mixed decathlon practices because the water's not right. It's like, that means the water's just not right.
And also it's been super hot there too. So whatever's going on in the water is like bubbling. Look, I mean, we've all, not all of us, but anyone who has been to Paris knows that the Seine is not just a pretty river for pretty pictures. It is a functional river. Boats go up and down it. People live in houseboats on it. There are a lot of unhoused people. There are, embankments of homeless people living on it. I wonder what they do with their poopy water when they're done. Or they dump it into... Yeah.
Or the fact that they have a 100-year-old sewer system that when it overflows, when it rains, it overflows into the Seine.
Yeah, so it's really stupid. I mean, I when I was there and I asked my friend, we were on one of, like I said, those corny boat rides, and it was really fun. And I said to him, so where are they going to have the swimming, the Olympics? Where are they going to have, I mean, I knew the swimming they obviously, I go, where are they going to have like the rowing and all that stuff? And
he was like, you're looking at it.
You're looking at it. And I was like, what?
You're like, but it's mauve. The water is mauve.
Really? There's a Coke can floating down. Yeah, no, the whole thing is ridiculous. And I mean, otherwise it's been a fantastic Olympics, but that's, I mean, absolutely, like, who the hell was, who was thinking, like, who was not, that's something an American would do. I'm sorry, be like, whoa, all right, Oh, I just read that Air and Phoenix are going to be placing the closing ceremonies.
Let me just tell you something right now.
That'll be fun.
If I do not get Milan Farmer,
you're not going to get Milan Farmer. No, you're not going to get her.
You need to pull out the Frenchie. I need Milan at that closing fucking ceremony in a fabulous gown. Talking about
they'll put her in the Seine. They can send her. Can we put Milan in a box too? I think Milan is in a box.
It's
no, they're not going to get her. They're going to get Air and Phoenix, which I think is great. I'm thinking like maybe they'll pull out one of the rappers. And then I read that stupid Tom Cruise is going to do something. Who cares?
He's like going to parachute into the
into the Seine and get E. coli. So that's great. But otherwise, it's been fun, and we can all. The best part about the Olympics is a bunch of fat, stupid people sitting at home, or thin, stupid people sitting at home, going, "Oh, why'd she fall off the beam? What's wrong with her?" I'm like, "I'm sorry, you can't even like walk a straight line, and you're like you're screaming at some freakishly gifted human being who is doing something that no human being should be able to do." I tried to do gymnastics when I was a kid. Ask me how long I lasted.
I walked into my coffee table 3 times this morning.
Oh, hi. I'm the one who falls down in the street for no apparent reason.
You know what I mean?
You tried doing it.
Like
Mr.
I literally,
ping pong.
I
I could
literally
do that.
walked into my coffee
No.
table 3 times this morning.
No. Oh, ping pong. I could do that. No, you can't. Guess what? If you could do, no, you can't. There is not one sport going on there that you could do.
Not
because
one.
Guess what? Not one. Because guess what? If you could do it, you would have been training since you were 5 years old and you would be doing it. So shut your mouth.
That part.
Wow, this is going to be my finest segue ever. Speaking of mouths, Steven Tyler has a big one. Big lips, big mouth. Anyway, Aerosmith is retiring. And it's actually, you know what? Aerosmith at their height, they are considered one of the best American rock bands ever. They're retiring because he had vocal surgery, he has a vocal injury, and he will not be able to come back from it. So that's unfortunate when you have to retire. You can't retire on your own terms.
Right.
When you're being forced into retirement. And the thing is, they still sound great. They were at their height the American equivalent to the Rolling Stones. I mean, you think about it, all rock bands have a Mick and a Keith. So
I've actually seen them live too. Because I was at Columbia when they signed to Columbia and they put out the 9 Lives album. And I saw them in a small place. I saw them at the Hammerstein. They did an album party for
I love that venue.
I love that place.
Love that venue.
What do you think? So what do you think the legacy of Aerosmith is?
Oh, the legacy is like they were the dominant radio band of the 70s. They were a rock band. I mean, I think that that Don't Want to Miss a Thing song is awful, but I think they really were. They personified kind of what a rock and roll sport. Let's face it, nobody wants to be the Eagles. They might listen to the Eagles, but Aerosmith walk the walk. But I will tell you what I think one of their biggest legacies is. Run DMC brought them back from the brink of death.
That is true.
Aerosmith changed everything.
Yeah.
Everything. And that really drove home the connection between rap music and rock music and everything, and opened up Run DMC to an audience they never would have had, because a rap fan audience would have already been checking for Aerosmith because they sampled them. I think their legacy is great radio hits. Those first couple of albums, I mean, Sweet Emotions still sounds great,
Amazing song.
He's a great guitar player. He's a great frontman. I think they're one of the great FM radio rock bands. I think that's the legacy. They never really got the kind of critical respect in some ways, but I think they really are.
Are they in the Rock Hall?
I believe so. I'm not 100%. I have to imagine they are, because, boy, talk about checking off boxes. I have to imagine they are. And if not, then they will be. Like now. Are you checking to see if they are? I have to imagine. Yeah. But I never saw them. But if you grew up in the 70s, you couldn't avoid them. And like I said,
I still can't believe you've never seen Blondie. That's wild to me.
Yeah, I know. I know. But I've seen Pet Shop Boys 5 times, which doesn't make up for it. Are they in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? They got to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And they had 2 very distinct phases of their career, too. They had the early years with Toys in the Attic and all that. And then they had the kind of Ragdoll and Love in an Elevator, the Geffen years. They're in the hall, right?
They were inducted in 2001.
Yeah,
and
I figured they had.
Then in 2013, Steven Tyler and Joe Perry received the ASCAP Founders Award and were inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame.
That makes sense. I mean, that totally plays. And I will tell you, I can think offhand of at least 6 women publicists I know who had pictures of Joe Perry on their board, because Joe Perry is a hottie patati, in my humble opinion.
Yeah, to me, they really, they're
a rock band.
They're rock stars, like the kind that they don't make anymore. You know what I mean?
Every time you see a singer putting scarves around the microphone, that's Aerosmith.
And as somebody who worked at a label, when certain groups come around and stuff, people are like, all right, da-da-da is going to be here today. We're doing some press. We're shooting something. I just remember the excitement when they were in town and they were doing something with Aerosmith. Everybody just felt like there was an electricity and energy around them. And that's when you know you're that special thing, that when you get jaded music people who are even like excited, you know?
I interviewed Steven Tyler for Double XL, and he was very nice. I mean, it was on the phone, but he was very, very, let me tell you, this is that I'm saying nice things about Aerosmith, and they're from Boston, speaks volumes. That's all I want to say about. And that he never, and that Liv Tyler is his daughter, and he never realized it. I love that. You know that story, right?
I do, which is another wild one.
Crazy.
I used to see her around the Village all of the time because I believe
Yeah.
she lives down there somewhere.
Yeah, she did. She was married to some rock star guy.
And you know what? Let's take a break right here.
Okay.
And we'll be right back.
This episode is brought to you by Experian. Are you paying for subscriptions you don't use, but can't find the time or energy to cancel them? Experian could cancel unwanted subscriptions for you, saving you an average of $270 per year and plenty of time. Download the Experian app. Results will vary. Not all subscriptions are eligible. Savings are not guaranteed. Paid membership with connected payment account required.
And we're back.
Okay, the funniest thing to me ever is when people who are in the industry, who are very, very successful, who have children who are also in the industry, like when people go into the family business and then people freak out because why did he get the job? His father, Nepo baby. So people who are having a conniption fit because Lucian Grange's son, Elliot Grange, is taking over Warner Brothers Music, right?
Yep.
First off, he doesn't work for the same label that his dad does. Lucian Grange is still Universal, right? He still
Absolutely.
runs Universal.
Yep.
Yeah. So, and it's not like, look, first off, these guys all fail upwards anyway, but it's not, they're acting like he never was an astronaut before and suddenly he gets to be an astronaut. This is what he's done his entire life.
I get the weirdness, right? Of now you have a Grange who's in charge of the whole Universal Music Group. Now you got a Grange over here who's going to be in charge of the Warner Brothers Music Group. You know, he has a label that he started called Project 10K, which is what has given us Trippie Redd and Ice Spice. Among things.
We'll just leave that hanging.
It's a definite weird thing, but the truth is I'm so used to the same group of people getting all the jobs that it's like, why is anybody why are you in shock? The same group of people get all the top jobs.
Yeah, they rotate.
They literally do. The same group of people.
But you know what's amazing?
Mm-hmm.
And this is very inside baseball. Fucking Julie Greenwald, man.
I was about listen.
Fucking Julie. I mean,
listen,
that woman. Oh my God. Every time there's a change, be a woman and she is still up there and
keeps getting promoted up to really big positions. So it's like she went from CEO to now was it from chairman to CEO?
Wasn't she Leor's assistant at Def Jam?
Back in the day.
Right. So this woman has put in her time for like 40 years, man.
Now she's the chairman and she answers to the CEO of the company. You know what I mean? Of the whole thing. And it's like, it's really amazing to watch how she absolutely has survived and being in Atlantic as long as she's been there, because that just doesn't happen. Kids, it doesn't happen like that. It doesn't
happen anyway. Yeah.
And it's like, and for a woman in this crazy ass industry, she's very respected and has handled her business and done her thing. And I love that for her.
Because also she's not, most people don't know what she looks like. Most people, she just does her job.
You don't see her. You never see her. She's not popping bottles somewhere. No, she's out there. Craig Kalman is still there. He's still going to be over all of the A&R.
Did Todd Moskowitz go over with Leor?
I don't see his name here, so I don't know. I know Max, who had been there for 20 million years. I'm trying to be like, did they push you out? I can't tell by the statement.
But you can all kind of like rotating. It's just like whack-a-mole, and if you're, but yeah, I saw Julie's name and I'm not acting like I'm her best friend. I probably have never met the woman in my life, but the point is I've seen her name for 40 years and I'm always very happy when a woman keeps her job.
Absolutely.
Especially because usually with women, it's like you get to be a publicist for the rest of your life. Because that's like babysitting. So
or you get to be a VP, you could be an EVP, but like those top. Well, listen, Sylvia's still the head of Epic, right? She's still there.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. But yeah, good for her. Okay, so Vybz Kartel, huge dance hall star. Very controversial though. I mean, he's one of those guys. Is he the one that bleached his skin and everybody was flipping out about that?
That's what people are saying. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because I saw a picture of him. I was like, then clearly he didn't have access to bleach
in prison.
Prison, yeah. You can get anything you want in prison. Well, anyway, he was convicted of murder, and his conviction has been overturned because of jury misconduct or. Who would have thought the Jamaican legal system was corrupt?
Well, here's the thing that's crazy about him. Okay, so he was arrested originally for a different murder and like a weapons charge and a gun charge. They couldn't find a jury to charge, to go to trial and everything for that first murder. And so I want to say he got probation from that, but he didn't get out of prison. He was arrested in 2011 because of this second murder. Now, the evidence, there's a second murder, somebody who was evidently an associate of his. And it's him and like 2 or 3 other people. And what ended up happening was the evidence they supposedly had was a text on his phone basically referencing chopping that other person's body into mincemeat.
Can I just tell you something? Courtney, I watch a lot of crime television, and that's what always gets you into trouble. Everybody is suddenly an expert in dismemberment. How is that?
Because of Law and Order.
Yeah, well, and I guess how do you, and also just fun fact, if you are going to chop somebody up, don't text a person about it.
So then they've tried to get, because he's literally been in jail since 2011. They tried to get another appeal, but those appeals never went anywhere. But suddenly, like the higher UK court, because I keep forgetting, Jamaica, UK colony, has tossed it out and said there's not enough. Okay, I'll read it. Hold on. Why they're not Okay, first they're saying, at the time the co-defendants' lawyers argued that the judge presiding over the trial had made mistakes in handling allegations, but the original appeal seemingly went nowhere. After erasing the aforementioned convictions, the Privy Council asked Jamaica's Court of Appeals to determine whether a new trial should be held this past Wednesday. A 3-judge panel announced that a retrial was not merited, meaning all 4 men would walk free. They conclude that the interests of justice do not require a new trial, even though someone's dead. So it feels like
works for me.
In some of the rumor, they said that like his health, the amount of time that's gone by, and they gave another reason as to why they're not going to retry, which is great for him if you're him and the other people, but I wonder how the family feels of the person who was murdered because someone is clearly still dead.
I'm sure his label has taken care of them.
Well, especially since he has literally released, he released 50 songs in 2016 alone, evidently. Yeah. He released his most successful international album while he was in prison. Listen, so he's out. People seem to be really, really happy that he's out. Oh, part of the reason why he got out was they found out that the original jury in that trial, someone on the jury was trying to offer other jury members money to convict him. So I don't even understand how they got to a guilty verdict in the first place.
The first time around.
When that should have been done then.
You would think. I mean, from my vast legal knowledge, as you know, I am in my part-time a legal scholar.
And a genealogist on the
and
side.
a genealogist and endocrinologist
Yeah.
too.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I am a retired gymnast
Mm-hmm.
and a circus bear.
Mhm.
The whole thing is crazy, but I know he is quite controversial, but he's super talented. So as long
Yeah.
as he's talented, that's all that matters, right? That he killed people. Oops, oh well.
Or maybe not, because now
Allegedly.
because now
Well,
he's
whatever.
innocent. And
Yeah.
it's interesting because they never say innocent, right? When you get things, he's like, I'm innocent. You get out on because of the misconduct of jury and stuff. It's not
Right.
like new evidence was presented.
It's just been they've had to overturn the verdict because
Yeah.
they can't prove it or not prove it. But he did his time. He's out, and I'm sure he will be. Everybody will be very happy to see him in Jamaica because I know he's hugely
Yeah,
popular.
absolutely.
All right, how is it that freaking Prince just now got inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame? What were they waiting for?
Okay, do you want to know the weird rule that they have?
Please tell me.
So he's been eligible since 2013, and they were going to induct him then, but they have a weird rule that if you cannot attend the ceremony in person,
No,
then they won't do the induction.
Was it like the lotto? If you don't actually accept the check in person, they won't give it to you?
I'm like, so let me get this straight.
So every other
My accomplishments are great enough to get me in here, but because my schedule doesn't permit, you're not putting me in? And yes, that is it.
Wait a minute. All right, so is it like a 25-year rule like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Yeah, I believe it's like 20. It's like 20 or 25. Like, yeah.
All right, because Missy. All right, so Timberland got in this year, so yeah, he would be about 25 years since the first.
Yeah, all of the.
Yeah.
So what ended up happening was he was supposed to. They were talking about him getting in, and they were making a plan. They made a plan for, I believe, 2016, and he was supposed to come and get in, and he passed away. Which to me then still, why didn't you induct him?
Yeah, at that point, it's like you can't be mad at the man for not showing up for something when he's dead.
Because
that seems like a very good.
When I first saw the article, I was like, "Oh, is this like the Minneapolis Songwriters Hall of Fame?" Because I clearly in my head,
no, he's been in that thing since 1979.
Clearly in my head, I was like, he's already in the Songwriters Hall of Fame. And then when I realized it was the real deal, I'm like, in 2024.
Yeah, no, that's like saying, oh, we're gonna put Lennon and McCartney in the Songwriter Hall of Fame now.
Right. Well, so congratulations, Prince.
Yeah, no, but what if it's like, okay, so what if they induct you and you're already dead? I'm not trying to be funny. You're already dead. So you can't get in unless you're a living human being?
Well, I guess, no, because they will give it to you when you're dead because you see, this is what's happening. But, and I said that to you about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I was like, if Donna Summer was alive, she would not be in there. And I absolutely 1,000% believe that. Because so many people just think of her career as that disco period, and they ignore all of the music that came after that, even though she had hits and great stuff. They like it when you're dead.
No, but I know what you're saying, but I'm just saying, literally, if someone is inducted into the song, if the rule is you have to appear, let's say they inducted Laura Nyro. Laura Nero's been dead for decades. Would she not be able to be inducted because she is unable?
But I think that if you're dead, they do. What's the word? Posthumous? I can never get
posthumous.
that word. Posthumous. Yeah, posthumously. I think that they do give the awards in that way. But if you're alive and walking around,
no, if you're alive and walking around and decide not to show up, then you can't
pull. Who's our guy? Was it Todd Rundgren who was like inducted in the Rock Hall and then
played down the street?
That's my favorite shit ever. That's the most rock and roll shit on the motherfucking planet. Okay? To be like, I'm not coming. Fuck you. Oh, and I'm playing a gig about 30 minutes down the road.
Yeah, you can get away. Imagine if a black artist had done that.
Well, one, you'd have to be dead to get in. Because they like you when you're dead. Unless you're bullied. Like, they had to give it to Janet Jackson that year because that was the year that everybody was back to Janet. So it was like, all right, we need some more women.
But the Prince thing though, like I thought, because sometimes you've sent me articles that are actually from 20 years ago, and I'll be reading going, Courtney Courtney,
Well,
this is great. You know, it was right because they regurgitate on the internet.
The fucking trick of shit. And I'll see something like,
No.
oh, and then I look and you'll be like, this article's from 2015.
But they do that. I mean, they regurgitate stuff.
I hate that
You'll see it
shit.
where they just spit because the algorithm has you looking for something. All right, speaking of regurgitation, I can't really say anything about Skip Bayless. I can't even look at him. He looks like a rat talking.
Yeah, I don't like him either. So good. He's gone. No more him. Great. Bye.
Doesn't he just look like a MAGA rat?
He just, you know what he looks like?
He's mean. He's mean too, right?
He looks like an unflushed toilet in the Port Authority. That's what he, I should say, that's what he reminds me of.
I want to know why you know what that looks like.
That's another story for another time.
Okay. I want to know on so many different, first off, I want to know why you're going to the bathroom ever in Port Authority. Don't you know when you're getting on a bus at Port Authority, you hold it before you get there and you just squeeze every muscle you have to make sure you don't have to use the bathroom in Port Authority. You're better off using the bathroom on the bus, number one. But Skip Bayless, I just looked at some clips of him. I'm like, he looks mean. He just looks mean.
I've hated the way he's been with each of his co-hosts. And I feel like, you know, I have a thing with respect, especially as a black man, and the way I've watched him talk to black men on television, I have a huge problem with that.
He's very condescending and very patronizing.
Problem. I'm one of those, you can't talk to me any old way, and you cannot talk to me like that. I just...
No. Yeah,
I get really... I might get clinched when I think about him sometimes, you know?
No. He gives that sort of like, I know what's best for you kind of vibe. Yeah. So anyway, he's gone. Anything? Let's just talk. You want to talk about Joe Rogan really fast? Speaking of clenched white men
and his evidently very not funny stand-up special.
Right. We've said this a million trillion times, and we can just say it one more time. You know, there is a discussion. There was certainly a discussion to be had about any number of topics. And I don't think things are off limits if you're a comedian.
I don't either. Just make it funny.
Just make it funny. The thing is, and I don't understand how Netflix has become the dumping ground for, first off, I never knew Joe Rogan was a comedian. And I'm not saying that to be obnoxious. I knew him from news radio. I knew him as a TV actor. He's hugely popular, incel, MAGA light broadcaster, you know, hugely popular. What is the point? I mean, it's like a trans joke at this point just seems like the most, like, it's not even creative. There's no shock value in it. It's just like the stupidest I mean, let's take the offensive, obnoxious fear. Why are men so flipped out about me? Don't you have something better to do with your time? There are trans people like what? 1/100th of the population. I'm being very serious. What is it? Like 1/100th of the population? I mean, and we all know trans people and
just trying to mind their own business and exist.
Just trying to mind their own business, but it just seems like such a stupid target because what point are you proving? You're not, if you were making some sort of interesting, again, if you're a comedian, you should be able, if you're making, but it's not even funny. It's almost like the equivalent of like, I see London, I see France, you know, it's like, it's not funny. Like, at least be funny. Yeah. So he's released this special on Netflix, which I guess, like I've said, is hey, you're transphobic, come here. And nobody cares about it. It's getting like terrible reviews. I don't have Netflix anymore. I don't know if it's doing well, but nobody cares about it. And nobody cares about it. You know, it's like, I just think there's like so many, you know, I'm not a huge fan of drag. I'll be very honest with you. There are elements of drag that do bother me. And I have spoken to women friends of mine, and there are elements of drag that bothers me and some of my women friends. That said, who cares? You know what I mean?
And what I say to you guys is it was never meant to be for y'all. It's something, it's subculture, it was gay men, and it was nightlife. And I think the RuPaul's Drag Race, it has, listen, for a lot of drag queens, it's become a very lucrative business. But I think that this TV drag and what I'm seeing on television is not drag. That's right.
But
different.
I was bothered by it, to be honest with you, pre that. That said, I feel like we're kind of getting to the Olympics things where Kiki Doll has sued
Nikki Doll.
Sued Lawrence Fox, who whose uncle or father is like a really famous actor. He's a nepo. But
it's good. I'm glad she is, because calling her a pedophile and now having her have death threats and everything, when he just lost a case with Crystal from UK's Drag Race season 1, called her all kinds of pedophiles and went around. She was getting death threats, and she just won a defamation suit against him.
Well, my point about, he's a very, very conservative, very controversial, very annoying. Another one of these. My point about that, though, is I just have not. I don't ever understand why people still think go-to shock, like that whole Greek Bacchus scene at the Olympics. Would it have been any less entertaining or fun or provocative if it had not been drag? Like, why? I don't get it's not shocking anymore. It's not interesting anymore. People
just want, listen, it's like
no. What I'm saying is, why did they choose to make it drag?
Well, I have no problem with them making it drag, because they were trying to be inclusive of everybody and give every community a chance to be seen, right? So it's like, and they turned it into like a ball scene, and because it was supposed to be revelry and drinking and that, just like almost like debauchery a little bit.
Well, it was Bacchus. Yeah.
So I don't understand why just seeing somebody that's different than you sets off such alarms with people. It's like, if I have to sit and watch you be hateful, why can't you watch somebody be full of joy? You know what I mean? Because you guys just spread hate and anger all the time. And I'm just wondering what happened in your life where everything is just full of hate and full of anger. As much as I'm a Black gay man who's gone through a lot of shit in my lifetime, but I don't walk around. If anybody has a right to walk around and just be angry all the time, it is Black people and gay people in this country. But who wants to walk around and live like this? So I don't understand how just seeing something you don't like sets you into such a fervor that you're just like, you immediately go to pedophile, when we actually see pedophiles and rapists competing and you have nothing to say. And here it is right here.
Well, because it's just a sort of the othering, and it's easy, and it's
absolutely
a stupid target.
It's the low-hanging fruit. What are we supposed to think about low-hanging fruit?
Right, and he's been doing this for years. I did some research, but I just can't believe his dad is such a good actor. His cousin is such a good actor. He's just, people are texting me right and left.
Well, it's always like that person who comes from privilege, like, and all of those things. You've got a voice, and they always use it. Quite frankly, it must be lucrative for them, right? Because I believe people do all of this shit because it works. People do the shit that works. It makes them money.
I think he was banned, though. I think he's somebody who had a position. I don't want to even give him that much play, but I think he's someone who was big in England and is sort of known for this and has been banned and sued. And so he was married to a really good actress, too, Billie Piper. You know her?
He was married to Billie Piper?
Yeah.
Isn't he like 900 years older than Billie Piper?
No, he's like in his 40s or 50s.
Oh, he just looks like he's 900 years older than Billie Piper?
Yeah. I know, Billie Piper's cool, right?
Do you remember when she was a singer and she had that album, Virgin Billie?
Yes.
I actually really like that album.
Yeah, me too. I'm thinking that he must have been a different person, or she's somebody that we really don't know, or she just puts up with it. Or
that's why they're not married anymore.
Right. We were like, wait a minute, you hang out with too many gay people. And she's like, and scene.
Right.
What are you listening to?
I finally pulled out this Chapel Roan album to hear what everybody is talking about. And I kind of was like, found myself grooving to it. I was like, okay, you know what? I get this. I get it. I completely 1000% get why this is a year after release having listen, I love a slow burn. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And let people discover it. I absolutely understand why people are enjoying it. Moses Sumney has a new EP. That's really good. I really like him. But yeah, I kind of finally dug into this Chapel Roan moment, and I was like,
It took me a minute too.
Yeah.
I told you, a friend of mine told me about it a while back. I listened to a couple of songs. You know what? Actually, part of me was like, oh, no, queer space. I'm not in the mood, And then I started hearing this stuff. You saw that picture of her playing Lollapalooza?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. It was, and she seems
every festival she's been booked at, they've had to move her to a bigger stage because they have to accommodate the people. The amount of people that was there for her.
It looked like Nebworth. It looked like Nebworth, right?
Crazy. You know what else I pulled out? Karen White's first album.
Oh my God.
It's still so good. I mean,
I think I interviewed her for that. Is that Superwoman? Is that the one with
Superwoman? Superwoman's on that album. It's so good. Secret Rendezvous, The Way You Love Me.
She was good.
So good.
She was really good.
Yeah.
I will tell you that, and then I'll tell you what I've been listening to, but this is just a good year for the girls, man. A good summer. I mean, that Charlie XCX record, every time I listen to it, I like it more. And that that song, Apple, let's take the stupid dance out of it. I don't care about that. That song, is just so smart and clever and she's an interesting person.
And she's been writing some great. Her other albums are great. She's been around for a decade giving it. I'm glad that it's finally, she was like the gay's secret for years. And now it's like the mainstream is finally catching up to her.
And she's very, very cool. And she's Indian. Did you know that?
I had no idea.
Yeah, her mom's Indian.
Her new guest remix with Billie Eilish is setting the world on fire.
It's great.
People love it.
Our favorite Instagram guy, Blake Thornton, is that his name?
Blakely.
If you're listening, the girls and the gays love you.
Yeah.
We are the girls and the gays. We are your demo. He loves her too. No, I think I've always liked Charlie XCX a lot, and I've liked the song, but this seems to be like a perfect moment. The boys are just whining. They're whiny boys with whining and doing whiny country. Nothing against Shabuzi, but they're just being whiny right now. And they're a lot of like
Harry Styles calling Harry. I'm glad you took this time off. You could drop something at the end of this year and kind of save pop. You could come with a single at the end of the year, album in 2025.
Right, because your lane is wide open.
Come and save these guys because your
lane is wide open because we don't have any cute pop stars right now. Your lane is wide open. He's got a fabulous relationship with a really, really brilliant actress, and he's having a good time. And he's, his lane. It's Harry Styles to lose for next year.
And Robin, us grown-ups who still like to dance.
Well, she's doing something.
We need you to come and kind of say, I know I've kept you waiting, but here it is.
All right. I just thought of the most brilliant collaboration ever. You and I, our heads would explode.
Pia Zadora and Meatland Farmer.
No, God, no. Why would that would be like Jonestown.
Before or after the Kool-Aid?
As it was going down your throat. As people were gurgling from the side.
Could you imagine Pet Shop Boys and Robin?
I mean, they may be too big for each other in a lot of ways, but I mean, those are the epitome of unbelievably smart, or Robin and Charlie XCX. Except that Robin is, do you want too strong? You don't really need two strong songwriters. What you need is a strong producer and a songwriter and a strong, artist. I don't know if you want two, because their music, I don't know. I think that would be great. I'm listening to, because every once in a while I like to get in touch with my white roots. X, who's one of the greatest rock bands ever. With
Exene, right?
With Exene and Billy Zoom and John Doe and Don. Lineup has never changed. Saw them back in the 70s. Have never put out a bad record. Their new record is called Smoke and Fiction. This is their farewell album. They are touring. It sounds like X. I mean, there's like 30 minutes. The only difference between this is that she sings, the vocals are, it's better produced than their earlier stuff. I mean, it's more cleaned up. It's just absolutely fantastic, which took me back to listening to their earlier stuff. I love them. They were a phenomenal live band. And for some reason, because I was in the LA head, because I think X is the best band that LA ever produced, but the second best band that LA ever produced was Arthur Lee and Love. So I was listening to the first Arthur Lee and Love. And if you've never... Arthur Lee was probably the first black rock star in a lot of ways and a huge inspiration. I saw him perform. It was just Love, and then it became Arthur Lee and Love. And I saw him at, what's that club on Delancey? Bowery Ballroom. He's just a great songwriter. And anyway, so I've been listening to X and Arthur Lee and Love and Charlie XCX. She's just a good girl summer. Good girl summer.
Have you listened to any of her other albums? Because go back and listen to really good stuff.
I've been listening to her for a while, but this just seems to be like you're saying, this seems to be clicking on all. It's timing sometimes. It's whether people are in the mood.
Timing is everything.
Well, it's also whether people are in the head. It's almost like I feel like we've gotten. In some ways, I know this sounds so cynical. A lot of fans have been primed now because of Billie Eilish, because of girls who are a little off kilter. And I think everyone's been primed, and now they're willing to accept it. So
and what's the thing that I always say to you? Marketing, and not so obvious. The color green that you choose, which is the brat green. The whole brat thing, making brat like a saying. And everybody's, this is so brat. That is how you do an organic marketing campaign. And the lane was clear. This has really been a dry ass summer. So something that comes along that's exciting, that clicks, you had a free lane.
It's been a summer really dominated by like vaguely country kind of stuff. So if you're like, and again, Chappell Roan, they're going to study that, girls.
Yeah.
The way this has happened. Chappell Roan, Billie Eilish, her, and you know what? Taylor's like, this is the weird girl summer. This is weird girl summer. Taylor is many things. She is, I know that the Democrats now, that's our new word. Weird.
Yeah, weird.
Weird. But Taylor is many things. She ain't weird. But Taylor did give a leg up to a lot of, she had Chappell Roan opening up for her. She had Charlie XCX. She's got an ear. It doesn't translate into her own music, but she's got an ear and she's smart. She knows how to present these women. I believe Olivia Rodrigo was one of the people that
here's
put
the
out
thing.
there.
She understands what her audience wants from her.
Yes.
They don't want Charlie XCX Taylor. But she knows they will love these other women. So let me put you in front of my large crowd so that they understand what I see in you. And it's really smart.
She gives them the stamp of approval and, peer pressure, and it makes her look really smart. And I do love the fact that it's all been young women artists.
Absolutely.
I appreciate that a lot.
It's like I told you before with Shabuzi. Shabuzi had the great fortune of knowing that he was on multiple tracks on Beyonce's album for a long time. So he was ready. He was ready to capitalize, because you think about the other artists, like none of them have put a full album out yet. None of the other ones. Willie has not put out another album yet. And I feel like that was wasted moment. Tanner has put out a couple of singles, but no album. None of them had an album ready to go. He was ready. The shit.
And we've discussed this. The Beyonce record's kind of gone.
Yeah.
I mean, and this is not to be.
Still, I feel like it's underperformed to me. Like, you need something.
We discussed
we've discussed that a million times. Yeah.
I mean, it's a self-inflicted wound. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It really is a self-inflicted wound. We love her, but at some point, people are not going to automatically be your friend. Sometimes people are like, there's a lot of music to choose from. There's an audience. You know what? An 18-year-old, she doesn't mean anything to an 18-year-old who's listening to stuff only on streaming.
I had a friend who got tickets for the show, and he was really excited, thinking I'm going to take my teenage daughter, and she didn't want to go, and he could not believe it.
No,
and I had to say to them, I said, it's like Justin Timberlake coming back. those kids don't NSYNC, that's not them. He's not their guy from the boy band who peeled off and made solo records. They don't care.
No, it changes up as it should all the time. Speaking of change, take us out of here, please.
Well, you know what it is, folks. Thanks you. Thank you so much for You know what it is, kids. We're every week on the Pantheon Podcast Network, which is now the music, culture, sports. Some amazing shows. We got amazing stuff coming up in the fall, so thanks for rocking with us. Leave a message. You're crazy on our Facebook. We love it. So I'm going to let you finish, all one word.
Just be polite. Remember.
Be polite.
And remember, I will just say this once. There will be no Brian Ferry slander.
I told Scott, I was like, you could talk about a lot of
things. Slander.
You could talk about a lot of things.
You can say his politics are mean. You can say that he likes to kill animals, or his son does. You can say that he dates supermodels, but I will not hear any slander about him. That's all.
And we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Waterproof Records are your unsinkable tunes from the past, present, and future. What's up, everyone? I'm Jacob Givens, the host of Waterproof Records podcast. So what exactly is a waterproof record? Let's go back in time for a moment to when you were a teenager, and it's the first time you heard an album that would change you forever. Whether you're a musician, and it was the reason you picked up an instrument and started a band, or if you're just a music lover, it's the album that made you who you are to this day. You'll tell people that your life wouldn't be the same without it. It changed your DNA. So join me on the podcast where I do deep dives on some of the most influential and important albums in my life. And other times I welcome guests on the show to talk about their musical journeys and what they consider to be their waterproof record. It's time to wax nostalgic with Waterproof Records with Jacob Givens.